Well, with 2022 now behind us, we welcomed in 2023 with a slight bump up in average daily subsidy. The industry is now achieving $221.50 ADS for all permanent residents. This was a 47-cent improvement in growth from the previous month. Now, due to the fact that assessment outcomes are backdated to the point of request or the admission date of each consumer, we can expect a slight adjustment to the reported industry rates as those outcomes are determined in the following months. Now, turning our attention to average daily subsidy by facility type, the average daily subsidy did retract slightly within most of the modified Monash facility types, which we attribute to lower reclassification rates than the overall sector. Now remember, as average daily subsidy for the sector includes the higher rates paid on those defined sites, such as homelessness, it brings the industry average up slightly due to the higher rates paid. Now, the remaining services who fall under the facility type of all other RACs achieved a modest gain to $219.85 for all permanent residents, or $219.29 when you include the respite residents. Now, both figures still fall short of the Treasury's predicted 225 ADS, which was the starting point that they predicted of AN-ACC on October 1st. But what this really tells us is that the sector is still gathering an understanding of this new funding model, AN-ACC. Now, across the sector, AN-ACC assessment activity slid further over the December period to only 1.74% of claims, which is the lowest rate ever achieved since the shadow assessment started. Now, we attribute this to the holiday period, which the assessment management organizations must resource to as well. Now, the majority of all assessment activity was related to new admissions rather than resident reclassification requests that providers had sought. As a result of the decline in assessment activities, the sector's age of AN-ACC claims or assessments has now blown out to 56% of assessments in Medicare are now over 12 months of age. Well, occupancy levels across the sector continued their positive trend upwards, increasing to 86.5% at the end of December. This is forming a welcome trend as we've now had consistent upward gains since last April in occupancy levels, a sign that consumers and their families are becoming more comfortable with the pandemic and associated outbreak concerns at facilities across the country. Now, with the December holiday period and the reduced assessment activity by the department, we saw a marginal gain in total direct care minutes. Now, the national average remains short of the anticipated 200-minute average, achieving only a slight increase last month to 196.56 from 196.14 as of the end of November. Now, the breakdown of the national average of total direct care time by staff equated to 157.25 minutes for direct care personnel, and 39.31 minutes for registered nurses. Now, if you look at how this translates into a full-time equivalent requirement of staff across the country, this means just over 5,300 registered nurses would be required on site to fulfill these shifts each day. From our actual worked hours data as of the end of December, we saw nearly a 6% drop in the direct time worked by providers. However, RN minutes gained 3% to just shy of 26 minutes. This still shows a material gap, though, to where providers will need to be by this October, when the Safety and Quality Commission will then be enforcing these mandates. And that's Mirus Industry Analysis.